This is Hardy Brute with another run of Inventorix. We've unlocked difficulty level 4, which adds a 7th payment, so let's check it out. We still start the game with the blocker, which costs us $10 to remove, and is basically a dead cell until we pay up. We got a tier 2 refresher, the alien token right away, so let's lock that down, and let's actually try a Wayfinder build today. It'll move forward in a straight path until it hits a wall or is blocked. It'll give you $1 for each cell it moves through. We also put our selector here at the top, so after its movement, the selector will still activate, and hopefully we'll find some more Wayfinders. But unfortunately we did not, so let's just take the alien token, reset the Wayfinder. We're currently getting $4 per round, and with the galactic token, we're now up to 5. And we've got 3 more turns, which is $15 plus the 9, so we do make our first dead payment without making any changes, which is very nice. But once again, we didn't find any Wayfinders, so I'm going to use one reroll here, but we have to keep in mind that the rerolls are really important for the aliens, because we're looking for some very specific ones. But we did find a blue token, which gives us 2 free rolls, so we spent 1, got 2, and we're 1 positive. So let's get rid of our purple coin, and keep the blue, in case we find another blue, because upgrading the blue token also gives you 1 free reroll. And we finally found a Wayfinder, the exact same we're using. So instead of $1 per cell, it's now doubling its money to 2, and we went from $5 to $7. So now we're rolling in the cash. I would like to reroll here, but the aliens are so important, and actually cells are pretty important too, that I decided to skip there. We have a lot of rerolls, but we also need a lot of rerolls to find the aliens we want. So let's expand from our free cell, and expand our middle section as well. So now we're kind of set up for 2 Wayfinders, if we find a second one. And let's see what kind of aliens we get. There's 2 robot aliens that affect Wayfinders directly that we're looking for. But if we can't find them, just some general overall good aliens will do. The eye is very good for expansion, and the brain is good for multiple alien choices. But the best choice is definitely the helmet. He gives you +1 alien and +1 items. Looks-wise, the alien at the bottom is very similar to the one we actually want, but I'm not going to actually pick a good general alien until we use all of our rerolls. And I burned through most of our rerolls now and still haven't found anything decent. So let's use our last one, and we did find the one we wanted, the Miss Turner. And the Wayfinder will now turn left or right when it gets blocked the first time, and will continue on until it gets blocked a second time. So the distance the Wayfinder can travel has increased dramatically. We also got the carrier add, which works exactly the same as our current Wayfinder, except instead of adding value to itself, it adds the value that it gains to the item it ends up hitting at the end. And because we blocked the top section here, we took away the RNG and forced it to turn left to go the longer path. And let's buy a 3rd auto add in hopes that we find a 4th and upgrade it to tier 3, because it goes from 1 to 2 to $4 per cell, getting better and better. We can also use the auto add as a blocker here, and make sure that the selector always hits it. And we got another 19 this round, and we should easily be able to make our payment. We found the chaotic Wayfinder, which instead of going in a straight line until it's blocked, will go straight, left, right, until it creates its first block, and the chaotic element of it makes it very hard to control. So I'm going to avoid that one like the plague. I got rid of our blocker and rearranged our board a bit, so now we're going to get $2 more. Spent 10 to remove the blocker, but we actually got $1 back for selling it. But we went from $19 to $22, so we're some big spenders now. Let's reset the Wayfinders and grab the purple refresh. And we actually got another +1 carry adder. So now, just like the front one, it'll be adding $2 per cell, which all gets added to the front Wayfinder. And these are some very small gains at the moment, but as soon as you add a multiplier to the mix, or we get some sort of booster, we can get some huge numbers going. Because right now the Wayfinder in the front is worth $24 all on its own as a flat amount. So that's a pretty big amount just on a single item. I'd also like to get 1 or 2 more Miss Turners to create a very long path, a spider web even, starting from opposite corners, and connect 2 Wayfinders together. That sounds like a lot of fun. And it already feels like I'm playing a different game a bit, just because we're setting up our little robots. But we made that payment with 32 extra left over, so not a lot of leeway. But let's actually expand here, create a Z, in the hopes that we actually find a second Miss Turner, and we can create a very long path right down the middle here. So luckily the game gives us 2 rerolls after each payment. We could get the eye, but I'm not sure we really need it. But it would help us create a very long path, but I'm going to be greedy here. Duplicates items gives you $2 more, 1x2 gives you $2 more, and pair blocks will open a second time. And we should have taken the eye. The chaos booster doesn't spin but stays in the same place at the start. That is decent, but we don't have space for that. So I think out of these choices, we're just going to think the edges are worth $1 more, the flowers are worth more, +1 reroll on discard, +3 on our reroll, choose a random item and gives you its value. Well, if that hits our Wayfinder, it will double our cash, but more than likely it won't actually do anything. And we got the auto mole. Instead of giving a flat $1 to $4 per cell, it gives a flat multiplier per cell. So it's actually the opposite of the one we have here. And it pairs better with the Wayfinder that adds a flat amount together with it. But now we can have 2 little trains going at the same time. We can have a flat amount next to a multiplier amount, and see how much they make on the left. So let's test it out. I do like our little trains. So our big Wayfinder gives 25, and the other 2 give 6, so it's the exact same amount. So now let's add the flat carry add behind the multiplier on the left, and see what effect that has. So it made 6 before, and now it's up to 30. It's actually making more money than our original ones that are tier 2. So that is way better. And this is the entropy cross, which will randomly spin and then multiply times 2 wherever it ends up. But we found another flat Wayfinder, so let's make a tier 3, giving us $4 per cell. And let's actually take the better plusser and put it behind our multiplier, and give the basic plusser to our big tier 3 over here, because it shouldn't make much of a difference to that one. And now let's see how much the tier 2 has an effect on the multiplier, and which of the 2 trains is actually better. We made 31, with the left side making 78. That is way better. We got a second multiplier, and we upgraded the multiplier to tier 2, which I think should double the amount, going from 78 to 156 on the left side, with the right side still only making around 31. But let's see. 31 and 156, yeah, that is very nice. We got another flat amount Wayfinder, but we already have 1 tier 3, and I don't think we need another one in the build. We just don't have the space to take advantage of it right now, so let's actually skip and get a free cell, and reset the trains. And we're easily going to make this payment here. We have about 4 times the cash of the actual debt amount, which anything left over will be just carry on to the next round. Once again, let's make a big winding path here, just in case we find some more Miss Turners, and our Wayfinders have the ability to turn here, so we can go from one corner to the other corner of the map. We got an alien pig, 2 times the cash on discard, a random cell gives 3 times the cash, the corners are worth 5 more, gives the sum of all tier items as a cash value. It gives the sum of the value of items in the corners, but loses all your current money. Let's just take the 5 rerolls, because I think we're going to need them. And the very first thing we find is a Miss Turner, which is perfect, and we get to keep the 5 rerolls. So now our Wayfinders are going to turn a second time, and we can actually try to take advantage of the Z here in the middle. And we got the Wayfinder that adds a multiplier instead of a flat amount, which is perfect for our current tier 3. But let me think about the best way to rearrange, and I'll come back. With this current setup, the Wayfinders on the bottom left will make it all the way to the top right corner as long as they activate first, and the Wayfinders on the right will replace the ones in the bottom left corner. Let's test it out and see if it works. And the Wayfinders on the right activated first. I'm not sure how to tell what the priority is, but they activate the same every single time. So let's rearrange again. This way, if the Wayfinders on the right, which will activate first, go left or right, they'll either be blocked or they'll do a little circle right here. But we'll get the long train from the bottom left, which is what I want. Last time we only made 53, and this one we made 568, so that was much more successful. We got another flat amount plus, which will create our tier 3, and we put that behind our multiplier, increasing the amount that our left train makes by double again. It goes from 1 to 2 to 4, and we should break 1,000 here. And after thinking about it again, because we know the priority, the train on the right is going to be going first, it'll hit the corners and end up in the bottom corner under the alien, and the left side will have a free path to the top right corner. Ooh, it did not turn right though. I guess we had a 50-50 chance that it would actually work out. But luckily we have lots of extra cash, and we don't want any of these items. So let's go back to the guaranteed method that we had before, with our big train from the bottom going to the top right corner, where the train on the right does a little bit of loop-de-loop. It may not be the longest train, but it is the guaranteed way to make a large amount of cash that'll give us a buffer. With the flat adder being a tier 3 now, we go up to 1,219, doubling our banked total. We got another flat Wayfinder in the shop, but I don't want to use any more Wayfinders that are going to take up space on the board. So let's just skip and move on, and collect another 1,200. Hopefully the next alien we get can be another Miss Turner, or the unique Wayfinder that we haven't actually seen yet. So let's expand the bottom right corner here, giving us a spot to place the alien coin, and we can also go from corner to corner, getting the biggest turns going. We now have 7 payments till the end, and I think we're going to unlock all the space in the grid before the game ends. And we actually got it. Multiplies the values of the Wayfinders by itself for each time it's blocked. So this just adds a multiplier to all of our Wayfinders every single time they turn. That makes Miss Turner even better. Pays for combos of solitaire, gives $1, times 2 for every 2 items that give 0, but you cannot expand after payment. And that last part is a doozy. It gives $1 and 3 times the amount for each time a parabox succeeds. That's the parabox alien for sure, or we can pick an additional alien. And this is just the alien coin as an alien, so this is very good. And we get a Miss Turner for free right away. So let's lose our corners. So now the Wayfinders can turn up to 3 times, and we have a multiplier built right in. So we definitely have to rearrange here. The Wayfinder on the right will go forward, hit the selector, hit the wall, then the corner, and we'll end up back at the selector here. But to take away the 50-50 chance that it actually goes down left, let's put the blue token in the spot, and now it's a guaranteed path. The Wayfinder train in the corner will hit the alien token, the top left corner, the top right corner, and end up at the selector at the end. And the priority is all messed up again, but the 2 trains don't interact, so it actually doesn't matter. And we made an insane amount of money. 10 to the 16th power. I'm pretty sure we can pay the $900 now. That unique Wayfinder definitely broke the game. And I really want to use this booster that we just found to make our train end up in the booster, tripling our income. We also found another self-multiplier, and if we find a second one, we can create our multiplier into a tier 3. The train's amp gives a 2 times multiplier, whereas the booster gives a 3 times, and then it goes to 6 and 9. So the booster is much stronger. So let's buy the Wayfinder and actually lock down the booster, because we'll have space for it after our next payment. But let's just add to our first train here, and make it a bit longer. I don't think it should affect anything. Last time we had 10 to the 16th, and we actually made the mistake of switching the 2 trains in these same positions. So our income actually went down slightly, because the right path is a bit shorter than the left path, but we still made 10 to the 15th power. So let's make sure to put our good train on the left, and our slightly worse train on the right. So let's continue to skip for some extra space. And now that block actually could be a turning point. So let's put the purple token here, and things should be okay now. Unless the next two payments just explode exponentially, we're never going to have any money issues again. But we can definitely push this number higher and higher, especially with the booster in the shop. And we found the final self-multiplier, creating a tier 3 with a plus to base tier 3 as well. But the train on the left was much easier to tier 3 than the train on the right, because they're both uncommon. The train on the right is a rare and a common. With their tier 3, the income goes from 10 to the 16th to 10 to the 17th, and the 2 becomes a 6.5. So we got a massive boost there. The pair box rare, 30% chance to make 22. I definitely want to do a pair box build. It seems like a lot of fun. We got another space, and made another 10 to the 17. Let's dig deep into our wallets and see if we can pay the $900. And get the extra spaces as well. And let's stick these 2 spots here so we can fit in the booster. And let's fill out this entire section so we get some more options later. And create a long path here too, that we might start a train from. We got the alien that lets us pick another alien, so that's an easy choice. It's kind of just a reroll. Got another +1 selector, that is perfect. The alien at the top right corner gets 2 times cash, and this is the discharge alien we got last time. So let's get the +1 selector, and after rolling for a bit, let's just go back to the Randolph with a random chance of doubling our income. Because we haven't been lucky enough to find any more missed turners. But let's grab the booster, throw it into the build, and now we definitely have to rearrange. At this point, I've kind of abandoned the second train, but the first train is going to go the longest path all the way into the booster. So let's see how much money we can make from here. We got 6.5 to 10 to the 17th last time. And now we're kind of focusing only on one train, which gives us 5.5 and 10 to the 20th. Wow. Going all in on the best train. And now that we know that the second train activates first, we can actually block the booster and it shouldn't create any issues. So let's skip here and get a space, which gives us a chance to use the selector again. We can put it in the space it just gave us for a better chance at a Wayfinder. Although I think the better option is to actually use the selector on the booster. And now that we have access to it and we're trying to upgrade its tier, it will double our money. And we go from 5.5, 10 to the 20th, to 1.1, 10 to the 21st. And we got another booster here. The way the unique Wayfinder I think works is that it multiplies the value of all Wayfinders for each Wayfinder that gets blocked or turns. So it's actually a very good thing that we have 2 trains. It's either that or our second train is actually making a lot of income. But I don't think that's the case. And now that we have the 6 times boost from the 3 times, we go from 10 to the 21st to 10 to the 22nd. And we actually benefited from having the selector on the booster because we upgraded our Wayfinder multiplier because it's a Wayfinder and a booster. So we just lucked out there. Even though we made the second train stronger, I can't imagine it's really going to affect our income too much. The number is just way too small. So there's nothing good in the shop, so let's just rush down the payment so we can get some more space and look at some more aliens. And we have 6 spaces to expand, and we actually have 9 places left. So there's going to be 3 spots that we can't actually unlock, unless we do a bunch of skipping in this shop. Increases the area effect of artifacts. That's actually pretty interesting. I didn't know this was a thing. But let's get the +1 alien. And now we're up to 6. And we'd really like another Miss Turner. Gives $1 for empty cells. Gives $1 for each common item. Gives $3. And the pair box rare. So I'm actually going to roll down here. But the luck was against us. 1 more turn to pay. But you get 2 less cells when you expand. This is the final payment, and we're not actually going to expand anymore. So this is just going to give us another shop. And that could always be another booster, or the Wayfinder booster. so might as well take it. Let's reset up our train like it was before. And now that we have the extra space, I'm going to take a 1-for-1 item. So that we'll hit the corners, the corner, and we'll end up over here with our selector hitting the Wayfinder again. But our second train is much stronger, but will it actually have an impact on our income? And it does not. The first train has just too many zeros. I would like to expand these cells, but there's actually a couple spaces that would make the second train much shorter, or that could actually affect and interfere with our first train. So I think I'm just going to keep buying items from here on out. We didn't change our 2 trains, so our income is the same. We got a second multiplier booster. And so if we find a second one, we can tier 3 the booster on our second train. Or if we find 2 more boosters, we can tier 3 that one as well. But we've only got 4 turns, so the chance of getting either of those is pretty slim. Let's place the booster against the wall, so it will immediately turn left, go up into the corner, and then they should all stack right behind it. But of course it doesn't have priority, so the turn order is all messed up. But that only affected our second train, and that's not our moneymaker, so it doesn't really matter. But we still make the same amount of cash, and we had no luck in the shop, but let's just buy a 1-for-1 item and make our wall a bit bigger. And because our extra piece keeps blocking up our second train, I think next time I'm just going to put it straight in the corner and negate it completely. It will make the second train a little bit shorter, but it's better than what's happening right now. And we found 1 more booster, but we got 2 turns, so there's a chance we could find the final booster or the final booster train. But we only got 1 more shop, so let's reset the trains and give it a go. Our income has been staying pretty consistent, but our income is also an insane amount. And unfortunately, we didn't find either of the items we want in the shop, so let's reset the train and watch it in all of its glory one last time. Even if we had found the Wayfind booster, I'm not sure it would have had an effect on our total income, because our second train is just so much lower than our first. By getting a second booster for our first train, probably would have kicked us up to 1023 from our 1022 income right now. And that's what happened when we made the booster tier 2 and made it blue originally. But I'm sort of thinking we should start our own loan shark business. We've got plenty of capital now. Our final bank total is 1.6, 10 to the 23. The Wayfinders are super busted, so I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to support me, the best way is to like or subscribe. So I'll see you later.